We're going to cross live to Katsina, where our news correspondent, Nisi Gabriel, has been working very hard and standing by to give us a recap of the events that have been happening live in Katsina and the funeral procession for the late President Muhammadu Buhari. Nisi, well done. Please, can you give us, bring us up to speed about what's happening?
All right, just behind me, over here, across, that's the road leading to Daura, the hometown of former President Muhammadu Buhari. And that is the same road the motorcade followed a few minutes ago. Well, as we've been witnessing and as we've watched live on Buhari'S TV, we've been following the funeral procession of former President Muhammadu Buhari. It all started at the early hours of today. While we are at the Umar Musa Yar'Adua airport, we witnessed the arrival of several dignitaries, top government officials ranging from governors, cabinet members, heads of states, African heads of states, and other top government officials arriving at the airport in preparation for the arrival of the body of the former president. Well, we waited for hours, we waited for hours, and we also witnessed live military procession there at the airport. Up until got to the point where the president, the commander-in-chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which was also part of the highlights of today's event at the airport. When he arrived at the Umar Musa Yar'Adua airport, we witnessed that live too, and few minutes after his arrival, we also witnessed the arrival of the vice president, the person of Kashim Shettima, alongside the body of the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. And the president received the body from his vice. And also we saw the faces of the immediate family members of the former president. We saw his wife, Aisha Buhari, who is in the mourning period. She was virtually crying alongside members of her family. And we also saw the First Lady, Yemi Tinubu, comforting her, consoling her, alongside members of her family. So it was a beehive of activities at the airport, and also the mood was a sorrowful one. A lot of emotions running through the faces of various people, as we also witnessed the procession of the coffin of the former president, which was covered in the green and white flag, which is the flag of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. His coffin was covered with that flag, while it was rolled past top government officials, his family members, and also the military. And we also watched how his coffin was ushered into the military ambulance before they left the airport in a motorcade. And the motorcade comprised top government officials, the president himself, his son, his wife, the immediate family members of the former president, and well-wishers, top well-wishers accompanied the convoy and went straight to Daura. And like I said earlier, right behind me, that is the road leading to Daura. And from information we are gathering, all roads leading to Daura is heightened with top security presence littered across the road leading to Daura. Someone even told me that it will almost be impossible for anybody to get to Daura now at this point in time, because the body of the former president should be approaching Daura as we speak. And from Katsina Metropolis to Daura is about 45 minutes drive. So what that tells us is that in the next 10 minutes, thereabouts, any moment from 10 minutes after now, the body of the former president will arrive Daura for the funeral rites proper.
Well, thank you so much for that, Nisi. I'm wondering if you've been able to speak with any of the people around you regarding what their feelings, what their mood is like, regarding the funeral of the late former president.
Clearly, I've been able to talk to a couple of people here in Katsina, and the truth is that they are not happy. They are sad. They are in a sad mood. That is the honest truth. For them, they've lost a father. Don't forget, late former President Muhammadu Buhari is seen as a towering figure here in Katsina. He's a father to them, because he's someone who stands tall amongst other sons of Katsina State. That's prominent, and he's hugely loved by the people of Katsina State, and even more loved by the people in his hometown, Daura. So for them, they are really not happy. His demise came to them as a rude shock, because when I spoke to a couple of persons, they said they never saw it coming. And for them, he has left a void that will be felt for generations to come.
Very well said, Nisi. What insights have you personally gained from being on ground during this historic moment of a former president passing and his body being brought back from a foreign country?
Well, this is a very good question, I must say. And to be honest, I have been humbled personally. And it just shows us all that life is indeed fickle. And it also shows us another lesson to learn from all this is that as citizens of Nigeria, we should learn to be patriotic to our country, because we do not have any other country apart from Nigeria. And while being patriotic, we should do everything within our possible best to invest in our country, because had it been Nigeria has a good healthcare system, we won't have, our leaders will be flying abroad to get good medical health care. So what it shows that we should invest more in our country. Nobody can do it better than us. Only us can do it better. And it also shows us that no matter your status in life, you should be humble, because at the end of it all, despite the wealth, despite the success, we are all going to end 6 feet beneath the ground. And in few hours or few minutes from now, we will be watching live pictures from Daura. We'll be seeing how a former head of state, a former civilian president is being laid to rest, despite a huge accomplishment, despite everything he has achieved in life. It all, at the end of the day, well, we are going beneath the soil. But what is also important is that regardless, what will speak for us is our impact, how impactful our life has been to humanity.
So, Nisi, how do you think the former president's legacy will be celebrated during his funeral rites? Well, can you tell us what it will encompass? Will there be room for speeches, eulogies, or will it just be straightforward prayers?
Well, according to the Islamic rites, well, it will be a straightforward prayers, because prayers will be performed, and because the Islamic funeral does not take much, the Islamic funeral does not waste much time. Maximum, we expect that funeral rite to last for 20 minutes, 25 minutes. People will offer their prayers, mourners will come, offer their prayers, there will be recitations, and we also expect, we don't expect it to take much, not more than 25 minutes, maximum 30 minutes, according to the Islamic rites.
Well, Nisi, it seems there's a lot going on behind you as well. It's supposed to be a public holiday, but it seems that individuals are going by doing their daily activities, or am I mistaken?
Yeah, you agree with me that the public holiday will only be taken serious by civil servants, government officials. I'm aware that most government offices are not functioning because of the public holiday. But due to the hardship in the country, you agree with me that petty businesses will open, definitely. People will be on the street to sell their pepper, their tomato, their charcoal. We are here in northern Nigeria. Charcoal is a common trade here. People will be selling charger padlocks, just roadside sellers. But when you go to government agencies and parastatals, the public holiday is observed across board. And also to add to that, when you go to some government institutions here in Katsina, the national flag is flying half-mast in honor of late President Muhammadu Buhari.
So, Nisi, what initiatives have been taken or do you expect will be taken to preserve Buhari's legacy and, of course, promote his contributions to Nigeria's development?
Sorry, I didn't get that question. Can you come again,
I said,
please?
what initiatives are being taken at the moment or do you expect will be taken later to preserve Buhari's legacy and promote his contributions to Nigeria's development?
That's a good question too. Well, we expect the federal government, after the 3-day mourning period, to sit down with its Federal Executive Council and they will deliberate further. And we expect some monuments or some government buildings to be named after him, in honor of him. Also in Katsina, we expect the same thing. Also, we expect the Nigerian Parliament to come up with something in honor of the former president. But for now, it's not yet clear. We cannot categorically say this is what will be done, because we have to rely on what government officials tell us, because they have to go back after this 3-day mourning period. They have to go back to deliberate, and they will come up with resolutions that will be made public.
Well, what do you feel are going to be some of the key sticking points in the legacy of Buhari that some people will disagree with as years come?
Are you asking about the legacy of the former president?
Yes, some of the ones that everyone doesn't agree on. Some of the events that may have taken place in which there's a lot of debate, albeit acrimonious.
Yes, I won't talk about the policies as per se, but don't forget, it was during his reign as president we had a huge anti-SARS debates, campaign going on. A lot of critics opposing his approach to the whole anti-SARS issue. Also, one thing I know he will be remembered for, because he tried to transform the oil sector. He brought about the Petroleum Industry Act. But in as much as he was able to bring that into fruition, he was not bold enough to take away the fuel subsidy, which some of his critics criticized him for that. But to a large extent, he also brought about the social investment program, which has been largely abused by subsequent governments. But the legacy of Buhari stands tall. While there might be divergent views, there's no doubt that he had the best interest for the nation. He did the best he could to the best of his abilities.
Now, and in terms of human rights, how would you assess his legacy in that area?
I'm struggling to hear you. I can't hear you clearly anymore.
In terms of human rights, how would you assess Buhari's legacy in terms of promoting human rights in Nigeria?
Well, in terms of human rights, he was not scored greatly in terms of human rights, because it was seen that his administration clamped down on opposing voices, on journalists too. So in terms of human rights, I think I will rate the Buhari presidency a 40% or 50%, because don't forget, Amnesty International during his period as president were always churning out press releases criticizing some of the actions of his administration as regards human rights. So in terms of human rights, I think personally, as a journalist, I'll rate him 40% or 50%, to be fair.
And the political landscape in Nigeria, we know, is quite fractured, with parties trying to gain more members, a lot of parties losing a lot of members, and just in general political tension, so to speak. When an event like this happens, it seems that it softens some of those attitudes and brings individuals together. We do know that members of opposing parties have been present, even out on the tarmac, to witness the send-off for former President Muhammadu Buhari. What do you think this portends for the future for our political landscape? Do you think this might soften things going forward? Is an event like this enough to change anything, politically speaking, in terms of softening hearts and aligning rather than going at each other's throats? What do you think?
Well, personally, I feel a lot would change politically, especially Northern Nigeria politics, the landscape of Northern Nigeria politics, because don't forget, we are talking about a man who had a cult-like, an unprecedented cult-like following in Northern Nigeria. And after him, someone who comes close, I think, will be Peter Obi. But in Northern Nigeria, there will be a huge void to be filled in terms of that type of cult-like following. I think the another person that comes close, but his own is isolated to Kano, is Kwankwaso. So in terms of the political landscape in Nigeria, of course, it's a huge loss. Indeed, it's an end of an era. But if the demise of former President Muhammadu Buhari will mend political fences, I doubt. Because what we are seeing now is that different political parties are gathered here in Katsina to honor him. And that's because he was a national figure. He was seen as a great elder statesman who impacted directly or indirectly to the lives of various individuals. So right now, it's not really about political party. It's not really about religion or beliefs. Everyone are just gathered here to pay their final tribute, their last respect to former President Muhammadu Buhari. And after today, or after the days assigned for the mourning of the former president, I think everyone will revert back to status quo. There might be some alignments and realignments politically. That is certain. We ought to look out for that, especially here in the north. And don't forget, there are also people who have been banking on the Buhari votes, the block votes he has. I believe those type of people, those category of persons will be disappointed now. Well, politics aside for now, I think after this we can talk about politics, but for now, everyone are concerned about the funeral rites that will be happening few minutes up from now, and dignitaries are converging Daura, all roads leading to Daura, and any moment from now, the motorcade carrying the body of the former president should be arriving Daura for the funeral rites.
Very well said. Thank you so much, Arise News correspondent Nisi.